Johnny's by 2.3K views live, and on that news review segment as well, 1.7K views. You can also join us at 3FM 927. Yeah, be part of the winning team. Be part of the winning team.
3FM Sunrise.
And you know that earlier on Johnny's Bite, I dedicated that the finance minister had said that, well, if you have 11 million jobs as a result of the collection of the e-levy, the e-levy is still being collected. The question we're asking is, where are the jobs and how do you even survive to get the jobs in these difficult times? After national service, what next? That's what most people keep asking. And every single individual is asking for jobs. We have 3 new bills have come up. They will turn up the heat on the tax front. Whether or not we'll find jobs, we don't know. Crosby has a job. William has a job. And they're in studio here with me with DJ Phil. He also has a job. But surviving the job, finding a job thing, it must be difficult, Crosby, isn't it?
Well, for some of us, it was a little okay to find jobs, but the majority of people, of the youth in the country, are not able to locate jobs. The factors are varied. So we're talking about the unavailability, that is one. We're also talking about their lack of preparedness, that is another one. And the third I want to add is how easy it is for them to lose the jobs that they somewhat get. So it is very difficult for the youth to look for jobs to fit their training, their levels of expertise, the knowledge they have gotten from the schools they went to, training colleges, universities, and all of that. It comes to some of the courses being taught in the schools. You remember the education minister spoke about that some of the lessons or the subjects being taught in schools do not make the youth employable. And then if you go to these schools, you study these courses, you come out, you have nothing to do with the courses that you've studied. A lot of them are in our universities.
Relatability.
Exactly. Then you come back to when you are taught what will make you employable, and then you come and the sector is choked. There's nobody living anywhere for you to go there. The retirees are not going, so the young people are not
growing.
Exactly. And then it makes the situation even worse for them. And these are people who have a certain age that there's a need for them to do something productive with their lives. Some are already feeding families, some 28, 29, 30, building families and all of that, but they don't have monies. Then it becomes easy for them to, venture into some immoral activities, social vices and all of that. And then it's a whole conglomerate of factors that we're looking for because of unemployment.
I see. Interesting.
Well, basically, I think the world is going towards entrepreneurship. So I think our education system should also look at ways to incorporate that in the training, rather than just the theories and then the normal way we learn and then pass and come out. I mean, even lawyers are now having to engage in entrepreneurship. And having said that, if you look at the macroeconomic environment, I'm wondering how, even if you have that skill to create your own job, how you are going to survive with interest rates hovering between 37 and 40 plus percent, inflation around 52, 53. So all the indicators are, choking industry. And just over the weekend, we're also learning of the passage of the 3 bills, which are now going to put some pressure on the private sector or even like the business community. So unemployment in Ghana and some other, not some parts of Africa, if we can make the macroeconomic environment attractive, then people will be encouraged to do their own jobs. Because if I'm selling or I'm farming and my interest rates from the bank is so high, what's the motivation? And we also ask the question, is agric attractive to the youth? Because that's a big area that the youth can venture in. But the youth today, are they patient enough to enter into agric and wait to get the benefits? So these are all conversations that are going on. And I'm happy that a lot of initiatives in agric for the youth. That's why sometimes I feel that this planting for jobs, planting for food and jobs, the job element in there should have been done properly for the youth to also get some jobs. But I don't know even if we got the food the way we wanted, because at the end of the day, we are still importing. So agric is a way that, it's an area that the youth can look at. Recently we are also talking about AI. That is also coming in to take away jobs. So there's a lot of pressure on the youth if you talk about jobs, and I don't know how come we can survive in this environment when the as I said earlier, the indicators are so much against people who want to do their own
And
jobs.
then worst of it all, the unemployed people, the people who are not generating any levels of income, they're the ones who are about to be taxed more. With the passage of these 3 revenue bills, the impact will be felt mainly by the youth already who do not have jobs, who do not have money to take care of themselves. Now they're going to buy bottles of water, they're going to buy food stuff, they go to the market, and then it will hit them hard. So if make the environment easy for the youth to employ themselves, then you can take your mind off employment for a while. Let the private sector be vibrant enough to want to take the people you are producing from the schools, so you forget about employment, train them in a way that will make them employable. When they become employable, the private sector has an environment that enables them want to employ a lot of people, pay them well. Then you can focus on other aspects of the economy. But if you're not doing it like that, then
it's going to be.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at the income tax amendment number 2 bill 2022. The memorandum that came with it says the objective of the income tax amendment number 2 bill 2022 is to amend the income tax Act 2015, Act 896, to revise the rates of income tax for individuals and introduce an additional income tax bracket, introduce a withholding tax rate on the realization of assets and liabilities on winnings from lottery, unify the loss carried forward provisions and revise the treatment of foreign exchange losses, and increase the optional rate for individuals on the gain from the realization of an investment asset, revise the upper limits from the quantification of motor vehicle benefits, and increase the concessional income tax. So this is going to affect those of us who are already paying income tax. I want to jump quickly to the schedule, but first the preamble of the bill. It says an act to amend the income tax 2015 to revise the income rates for individuals and introduce an additional tax bracket. Literally the same things that had been said in the memorandum. But let's go straight to the schedule. Chargeable income. Your first 4,824 Ghana cedis. The rate of tax on it per this new one will be nil. Meaning that what is already being taxed remains. Your next 1,320, you get to pay 5% of that amount. If you're earning 1,560 more, you pay 10%. If you're earning 36,000 more, you're paying 17.5% of that amount. If you're getting paid 196,740, I'm sure this will be annually, you're paying 25% of that to government. Your next, if you're earning 359,556 Ghana cedis, you're paying 30% of that. And in excess of 600 Ghana cedis, I'm sure annually, you're paying 35% of that. So before the money gets to you, 35%, 30, 25, 17.5, 10%, 5% is already gone. We have not spoken about VAT. We have not spoken about NHIL. We have not spoken about COVID levy. We have not spoken about. So now this is for those who are working. We're talking about trying to survive, to find work. This is for those who are working. And those who are working are always depended upon by people who are not working. So I want us to draw the correlation. If people are now trying to find jobs, and 11 million jobs that were promised, which has never come, even though e-levy is still being collected, nobody has apologized for it. We're told that the government payroll is choked, and so there's been a job freeze, which means that now it is the private sector that must deal with the issues. 3 revenue bills, 1 income tax amendment bill, 1 growth and sustainability, and then the third one is the excise tax, right? Now, the excise tax, for example, will affect people who import all manner of things, malt drinks, soft drinks, fruit juices, water, tobacco, snuff, electronic cigarettes. I mean, the list is there. And how much tax you're paying. They will pass it on to the consumer. If their overheads become too expensive and they are not able to pay, the next thing is to relieve some people of their jobs because they are business people. They are in there to make profit. That's the first point.
And then there's an increase in prices of utilities.
Thank you
for these. Yeah.
So the government, I don't think that the government is looking at a policy that really scratches the people where they itch. The government at this point is showing too much desperation in just trying to satisfy the prerequisites for an IMF program. That's all. How that will come back to hurt us in future, how that will come back to hurt businesses and private people in future, I'm not sure the government is paying attention. Maybe I'm the only one thinking that, but I'm not sure
I
the
think
government is paying attention.
If you're doing the cost-benefit analysis, you're doing trade-offs and opportunity cost. It's evident that this is something the government is doing just because of the IMF program. It started with the bondholders to debt restructuring and all of that. And then we've gotten to a place where we need to restructure our domestic revenue, get a certain base to be able to go to the IMF. But it is not necessarily to... If it were not the IMF, would we be doing this? I think that's the question we should ask ourselves first.
And that's obviously a no.
Then it means this is just, a knee-jerk reaction we're doing. We're really not thinking through this. So after the IMF deal, these taxes, will they, be repealed? Will they be removed? Or they'll still be on the burdens of the ordinary Ghanaians?
If what we're doing now by how much we're collecting via e-levy, because we're told that, COVID is here. After COVID, the COVID fund will go. The COVID levy will go. We're still collecting COVID levy.
You see.
We're told that, well, if you give us e-levy, we won't bring back road tolls. Now, road tolls are going to be brought back. E-levy is still being collected. So the government doesn't give the people in there. I think that by and large, once the people get used to a certain new tax regime that the government has introduced, the people talk about it, they scream small, they stop, like we've done with the EC appointments. We've spoken about it for some time. We've stopped talking about it. It's okay. The gentleman is there. We set bad precedents. That's it. So I think that the government doesn't really consider taking off some of these taxes after, they have, can I say, achieved the purpose for which they were set, because I don't get it.
After the achievement, any other thing that comes as action that goes into, if you like, private pockets and all of that. But you spoke about the A-levy. The A-levy had a certain target before its implementation.
Right.
Did it meet the targets? A huge no. So what is the guarantee that these new 3 revenue bills that have been passed, these new 3 taxes, will do exactly what government is anticipating that it would? Remember, we're in a country where in Ghana, numbers lie. Numbers don't tell the truth in Ghana. 1 + 1 will be 2 for somebody, 1 + 1 will be 3 for somebody, but we're dealing with the same things. So there's no, if you like, guarantee based on precedents, based on COVID levy, based on e-levy, based on the expectations, the target they were expected to meet that they did not meet. What happens if these bills do not rake in the 4 billion that we anticipate that they would rake in? Then it means we have to look for other means of getting that money, other forms of taxing, and that is also coming to the companies, to the population, to the employed
people. It will be passed on.
Exactly.
There's no way the companies will. I mean, I'm looking at data now. Statistica data from 2017 shows our unemployment rate 4.22. 2018 we had 4.28. 2019 4.32. 2020 4.65. I do not immediately have the figures for 2021, 2022, but the maximum rate of unemployment, according to the International Labour Organization, was 10.4 in Ghana, and a minimum of 4.1% in Ghana. That shows you that the unemployment rate in Ghana has almost tripled over the past decade, because the 2021 population and housing census put us around some 30 million and over. If more than 13% of Ghana's economically active population are out of work, that is a warning and a ticking time bomb. More than 13% of the country's active population are without jobs. Any labor minister should have a sleepless night over this.
Any national security
minister should have a sleepless night over it, because you see, I off the top of my head, I can remember how a 2014 base survey, national security document, which was launched by the president sometime in 2020 or 2021, spoke about the fact that you had a youth bulge and an unemployment rate. National security is sitting pretty, trade is sitting pretty, agric is sitting pretty, gender, children, and social protection sitting pretty, and then you have your Ministry of Labor Relations and Employment sitting pretty. When you, and now the portfolio has been added, well, pensions, right? So labor relations and pensions. But the key question is this: if you have 13% of your active population not working, that is a warning. I don't know how any of our leaders go to sleep knowing that 13% of their active population, these are not old people, though. These are your young people. People fresh off the universities, people fresh off school, people who stopped along JHS and have gone to do some artisanal jobs, people who have gone to learn what they call in local parlance in Sanwe Juma and all of that. 13% of your active society, which is, your active society is more than the 50%, right?
Yeah.
Now you have 13% of them. It doesn't make sense to me that anybody should be sitting pretty. Let's listen to the reports that has been put together, and hopefully we'll get to show again on TV. We will play that report for you and then pick your thoughts. I know that there are a lot of young people who listen to the Sunrise Morning Show on 3FM who may not have an immediate job. Now, if you look at this new tax law that have been brought in, there's going to be a squeeze on how much is collected for even lottery winnings. You know, the boys who don't actually have jobs, they have turned to betting. And that's how they survive. That one too, government wants to enter that corner. So now, how do the boys really survive? I don't know. How do the boys really survive? 4 minutes after 8, here's the documentary.
A permanent structure, the courtroom, raggedly dressed, barefooted with brownish stained teeth, the shelter and the streets and sleep under bridges. These are people going the extra mile to earn a living, and each one of them has a story to tell.
Okay, so we'll have to bring that back to you. Deepest apologies for the technical glitch there. We'll have to find that documentary immediately and bring that back to you here on the 3FM Sunrise Morning Show on 3FM 92.7. And my name is Johnny Hughes. I'm here with Noble Crosby and William Asido. Helen couldn't join us this morning. She's under the weather, so we will. Why are you laughing, Crosby?
You know, Johnny, the documentary that we'll be showing pretty shortly. These are people who, because of unemployment, have found some means of getting money for themselves that is legal. Now, let's look at the number of people who, because of unemployment, would want to find means to fend for themselves illegally. We're not even looking at the health implications of the things that the documentary will see, of course, but the people who are doing a lot of the illegal things just to fend for themselves. You know, people who wake up in the morning and all they do is to sell drugs, illegal drugs, to people because they want to fend for themselves.
That's right.
And then we're looking at situations
There are those
where
who prostitute. There are those who do hook up.
And then these are just things they're doing because there's no money for them, there is no avenue for them, even if they may be overqualified for certain jobs. The jobs are not available. The environment is not conducive for them to set up, jobs for themselves, to be entrepreneurs, if you like. And then if you are a minister who is responsible for any of the sectors, any of the agencies, you're leading any of the interventions that should make employment readily available for the youth. And if you're able to go home and then you think you have a section of your children, of your family members unemployed, about 13% of them, then you should not be able to sleep.
You should not be able to sleep at all. I mean, and this will go to affect even pastors because they are tight. And if you're an uncle and you cannot give to your children, it's going to be painful.
Yeah, I was just going to add that tax education, as we're speaking about tax, there are some areas of the taxation, or if you like, the tax system that all of us must understand. I was trying to retrieve the exact sections of the Tax Act where, if you're looking after parents who are at a certain age or above 60 and thereabout, if you are looking after children who are in school, a certain number, if you are using your money for professional training, that will impact on the job that you do. All these, monies that there will be some allowances that you don't pay taxes on. You get some cutback from our taxes. These are things that we have not been taking advantage of.
That's right.
At all. I mean, we take our pay slips. We don't even know how much tax we pay. We don't know. But a lot of us are looking after aged parents,
right?
60 and above. You have children in school. You are using your salary for training. All these are in the tax law. So if the tax experts will come and then regularly, get a platform to educate the public, so that will not be strangulated by all the taxes that are being thrown at, especially when it is income tax.
Exactly. Okay. This is the Sunrise Morning Show. 8 minutes after 8. Enjoy some music. We'll bring you that documentary in a bit. But those, you can always join us on social media at 3FM927, and we'll activate the phone lines at some point right after the documentary, so you get a chance to also tell us what your situation is. Are you employed? Are you unemployed? Are you looking for a job? Are you surviving? We want to know, we want to understand. Enjoy some Yamponsa music. Katia Donko by Kwabena and Episode Music.
Who have connected their public toilets and vacuum water to this particular drain. But how people like him who are not even wearing any protective gears, walking in here with their bare foot, using their bare hands, put it inside the water to pick these products to sell, just to be able to earn something little to make a living. Really heartbreaking.
Kwabena Nyakon also came to Accra a year ago, aiming for a more promising future to earn a living, and each one of them has a story.
I would love to
tell.
be a mechanic.
Kwabena is also here to pick used plastic bottles is onto their daily hustle and bustle of city life in Accra. But for Frank Asante, it is
because of how I look. I sometimes cry.
He tells me he sometimes finds dead bodies washed away by floodwaters in the drain, especially when it rains.
Dead body
We sometimes see dead bodies in the water, especially when it floods. I am used to the stench here. I am not perturbed.
This drain gets filled to the brim when it rains heavily in Accra and even flood homes, sometimes claiming lives. A clear example is the tragic Doomfair disaster in 2015. Frank says he makes more money because the water comes along with a lot of scraps from different channels. It was his dream to become a commercial driver or a fabricator, but drug addiction has been his biggest challenge to overcome.
I am addicted to cocaine. I don't want to steal to survive.
Anytime you get here at the Odo drain, it comes with heady smell. And this particular drain connects to a number of drains, and anytime it rains heavily in the capital, all the water gathers here before it moves straight to the sea. Now, you have people like Frank who come in here daily to pick used plastic bottles and scraps just to be able to sell to others. He's one of the many people in the capital who are doing all jobs just to be able to earn little money to earn a living. But in this particular place where you have people who live around the banks of the drain, they urinate here daily, they defecate into the drain, and you have a number of people who have connected their public toilets and bathrooms water to this particular drain. But you have people like him who are not even wearing any protective gears, walking in here with their bare foot, using their bare hands, put it inside the water to pick these products to sell, just to be able to earn something little to make a living. Really heartbreaking.
Kwabena Nyako also came to Accra a year ago, aiming for a more promising future.
I would love to be a mechanic.
Kwabena is also here to pick used plastic bottles and scraps to sell.
I will leave this job for a better one when it comes my way.
He left home when he was 12 years after his father passed, and his mother abandoned him in Aguna Swedro in the central region.
I've been taking care of myself since I was 12. My dad has passed and my mom is not around.
They do not earn much for what they collect. Middlemen buy recyclables recovered by these waste pickers, sort, clean and process them before selling to scrap dealers who sell it on. It is these middlemen and scrap dealers who often earn large profits. Highly spirited in the day, but when it's all over and the sun goes down, they have to find a place to spend the night. After a hard day's work, Frank comes here to pass the night, a place he calls home, under the Circle Overpass, battling mosquito bites. When I got here, he was fast asleep until I tapped him. Frank was so tired he forgot to take his dinner, porridge and bread. After spending some time with him, he started dozing off, so I had to allow him rest. Head of department at the Occupational Health and Safety at the Accra School of Hygiene, Kolebu, Isaac Agbenyezi, describes their situation as risky. He said if something is not done about it, the future could be dreadful.
It is a major public health concern because these guys end up using public goods with the public. They enter public transports, And who knows the extent of the contamination they do after they enter these gutters. When they enter the gutters without the contamination, they enter Totro. Anyone who comes into contact with them is exposed. We have to look at identifying these guys, training them, giving them information about the extent of exposure and how that is dangerous to their health, and the need to protect them, give them PPE so they are protected as they salvage these wastes, which they find as resources.
In the second quarter of 2022, a study conducted by the Ghana Statistical Service revealed about 1.74 million, of 13.4% of the total working population of 13 million in the age bracket of 15 years and above in the first quarter of the year were unemployed. It revealed that unemployment rate rose from 13.4% to 13.9%, which consists of 1.8 million people in the second quarter of the year. More worrying is that the age bracket affected by unemployment is from 20 to 29 years, where Frank and Kobina falls. Aside the daily grind for survival, people like them often face discrimination. Godwin Asidiba, TV3, Accra. They do not have a permanent structure they call home. Ruggedly dressed, barefooted with brownish stained teeth, the shelter and the streets and sleep.
Daybreak again.
And that was Godwin Asidiba's documentary right there. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we'll dig our stuff into it, scavenging in the scraps of Accra, Ghana. And you heard them. Sometimes they get to contend with dead bodies, corpses. That's what they say. But all I can say is 20 minutes after 8 here on 3FM 92.7. This is the 3FM Sunrise Morning Show. I am Johnny Hughes. After this break, there's more. Please stay with us. Don't go away.
So the essence of my praise is centered on your grace. My name is Diana Hamilton, VGMA Artist of the Year 2021 and Brand Ambassador of Awake Purified Drinking Water. I am super excited to partner with Ghana's first